Finally, finally, a reboot I just might be able to get behind. Punky Brewster Revival, y'all. Time to talk about it. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Klepcx FM, brought to you by WeAreCritics.com, a place where we talk about movies, television, and pop culture. And if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe key and the notification bell so you can be up to speed about everything that I talk about here. Now, yesterday, and I can't believe I'm slipping at this old age. I almost forgot that the premiere of one of my favorite television shows was happening yesterday. And what I'm talking about is none other than the new Peacock Network's Punky Brewster Revival show, starring Soleil Moon Frye, Cherry Johnson, Freddie Prinze Jr., and a bunch of new kids who, I gotta say, they were very, very much the best part of this whole series. Now, the show is a revival, a continuation from the original series that came out, I believe, 1985. Yeah, 84, 85. I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure it was 84, 85. It's about a young girl whose mother left her in a shopping plaza. She ended up living on the streets for a while, roaming the streets with her little pet dog, Brandon, and she finds refuge in this old empty apartment in this apartment building managed by an old man. Now, her best friend, Cherry, who lived upstairs, would sneak her food. They became best friends, and she was like Cherry's secret until Henry had stepped in and by accident and found her in the apartment. And the story just kind of follows their relationship and how he adopts her legally and how he almost loses her. And it's very, very dramatic and very heartwarming series. And I grew up on this series. It was always one of my favorites. I went to it every day after school. I think they played it a little bit before school too, after it was like syndicated and you can watch it all the time. But it was definitely like my go-to, that and Small Wonder, for those of you who remember that. But yeah, Punky Brewster was a huge part of my childhood. So when I heard that they were bringing it back the same way that they brought back Saved by the Bell, I was a little bit worried at first. And it finally premiered yesterday, and I got a chance to watch it all. Like, I didn't stop. The episodes were only like 30 minutes apiece, similar to the old format, and I'm ready to talk about it. Let's see. This series picks up, of course, years after Punky's all grown up. She's a single mother to a girl by the name of Hannah, she's almost adult teenager age. I don't remember if they really ever said her age, but she was about probably like 17, 18ish, maybe 16, maybe even 15. I could be exaggerating a little, but she's definitely older. Punky is also an adoptive parent to two brothers who look Latin. One of them is Diego, and the other one is Daniel. Sorry. Diego and Daniel. Punky is also divorced, or going through a divorce, or just finished a divorce with Freddie Prinze, who's a rock star on the road kind of guy who, he wasn't always in the picture all the time, so therefore, just didn't work out for Punky's plan, and it just kind of fell apart. The story follows Cherry and Punky, still tight as ever, still best of friends. Cherry works for Fenster Hall. For those of you who don't know what Fenster Hall is, that is the adoption place where Punky was held when she was younger, where she would always escape from it because she didn't like the place. But it's also a place where she had to stay while Henry waited for trial in order to legally adopt her. So it was a great nod that they brought that back into the series. Cherry mentions to Punky in conversation that there is this new girl, this case that she's working on, who's about to get adopted, and she was like, hey, you should come down because she kind of reminds me of you. Right there, you already know the setup. This girl's probably going to be a spitting image of Punky, or in some iteration just oozing Punky power and just kind of being like her. So the girl is a runner. She's good. She's clever. She's very, very witty, and she's played by Quinn Copeland, brand new girl. I've never seen her before in my life, but she is literally the heart of this show. It is insane how much of Punky is and is not in this girl. Like, she is everything that old school television uh, would drool over as far as character, personality, wit, timing. At her age, she's only like 7 years old, and she knocks it out the park every single scene she is in. Now, how did I feel? I'm gonna get into that. The cool things about this show. Let me talk about the cool things about this revival. They are able to take what some of us will remember young Punky as, and clearly give us an older version of what she would be to a T. Like, I'm watching this thing and I'm just like, this is not too far-fetched. This is exactly who I would expect Punky to be at an adult age. She is the quintessential Gen X parent. Like, she's she's like a adult kid, a kid adult, or however you want to say that. And my generation is similar to that. Like, we are the generation who can't stop talking about things like this, and adulting is just something that we're multitaskers. We feel like we can adult when we want, and we can be children when we want. And she is all of that and more. And the roles, it's kind of strange. The writing of the character traits is kind of cool, because her daughter, who she's very stand-up-ish, she's very independent. Even at her age, she is very much Punky, like a spitting, not like a spitting image, but personality-wise, she's just like Punky, but a little more mature. So she's essentially the adult, and Punky is essentially the kid, but still has her adult qualities. But their dynamic is like, okay, mom, I gotta pick up after you. Oh, okay, mom, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool, it's cute, it's fun, the way that it works. So I thought that was cool. Another thing that they did very well is the dynamic between the divorce with Punky and Freddie Prinze. This show, it just reminded me of the older one, in the sense where it is a great escape. We know the harsh realities between divorce and broken families, and the effect that it can have on the children, and the effect that it can have on the two individuals who are getting divorced. And they tend to sprinkle a little bit of sunshine on this thing. The relationship between Freddie Prinze and Punky is amazing. Like, it's co-parenting at its best. It's not too far-fetched, because I could relate to this, and I know a lot of other people who can relate to co-parenting when they're not together, when they're separated or whatever. So it was kind of cool to see how they showed that. And these kids are not broken, they're not mischiefy, they're not disrespectful. Everybody is in their lane, and they accept the outcome of their lives and things that are going on. And I thought that was kind of cool that they kept showing you that. So, like, Freddie Prinze's character, like, he wasn't around before. Like, this is the reason why he lost his family, and now in this show, he's like the neighbor who never stops coming over whenever he feels like it. So he's always in the picture, and it's funny, it's brilliant. Like, the dynamic is cool, because there's times where Punky's like, why are you even here? Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of cute. It's very warming to see that, even though these two butt heads and they're not gonna work ever together, it's cool to see that they're still interacting for the family, and that everybody understands what's going on. It's very now, and it's not too over the top. Even character traits with the kids, it touches on gender identity, and not being so black and white, and leaving that gray area without pushing it in your face and telling you that you should be this, or they should be that, or they are this, or they are that. It leaves that window open and doesn't put a label on it. And that was like probably one of the best things in this thing. It's like, okay, you guys are exploring it. You have to. It's the times where this kind of topic can't be ignored, but you're not being so obvious, and you're not being cliche, and that worked. So let's break down each episode. We're gonna go through every episode to kind of tell you where it works, where it doesn't work, what I take away, what I liked, what I hated, what I really absolutely loved. Okay, so there are 10 episodes. As I said, 30 minutes apiece. Breezes right through. If you're a Punky fan and you like this show, like, you can literally sit there, just hit play and not stop, and you'll be like, whoa, this was amazing. Or it might not be amazing, because everybody's different and everybody has different flavors. So the first episode was probably my worst episode, and I'm gonna be really straightforward with you about this. I went in with a little bit of expectations, and by the middle of the first episode, I was like, this is kind of cringy. Please don't, please. Like, I want to see, I want to believe this. I want to, and let me tell you why. First of all, it moves really quickly, very quickly. I feel like the first episode, the pilot, is always the one that should be given the special treatment. It should be at least 45 to an hour to establish the world that we're going to get lost into, or that they want us to get lost into. This thing feels just like the original Punky Brewster. We've got the laughing in the background in front of the studio audience, the pacing, the brightness, the vibe, the tone is all there. Lots and lots of callbacks to Henry. Shout out to George Haynes. Like, they show him so much love throughout this, and they do not let you forget him at all. Not even in one episode. Like, Punky is bringing him up all the time in relation to things when she's talking to her kids, or she's talking to the new kid, Izzy, who is the Punky-esque character. And I was there for it. I like that. But the pacing of the first episode was way too quick and kind of unbelievable. So, well, let me explain it. So the young girl, Izzy, who is very Punky-esque, she's already up for adoption, but she's a runner. So the Cherry's, organization, they're kind of worried that we got to keep this kid around, or, we're going to be in deep trouble if she runs again. So Cherry asks Punky to do a favor and watch the kid while they await the adoption hearing, or something of that nature, to the parents sign the paperwork and come get her. Punky agrees and struggles. She doesn't. It's not like this is the only realistic part. She kind of thinks about it, and then she goes to her kids and says, "Listen, this is on the table. Should we take it?" So forth. It happens. While they're there, they grow up. They grow a bond. A bond happens. Of course, this is gonna happen. Anytime you bring a kid around for the first time, you're either gonna really love him, or you're just really gonna hate him, and it works. And the parents, that comes with a time when the parents are about to come get her, and no one wants to let her go. Okay, but the paperwork's already signed. This girl should not be staying with you at all. The paperwork is signed. She no longer is in your custody. She must leave by legal obligation. That doesn't happen. The family gets frustrated. They leave. I mean, this is all in a funny manner, by the way. This is not dark. It's a jokey joke. This is a sitcom. So I get the humor behind it, but this is not going to happen. This is not real. So anyways, the parents are out of the picture. The girl ends up staying with Punky. Then this journey goes on for 9 more episodes. But that in the back of your mind, if you're smart, you're going to realize that this is not over. Essentially, this is going to be a thing. So while we're doing this, there are a lot more callbacks and a lot more storyline that happens that are really, really cute. Like episode 2 is it's an episode about accepting, being a spoiled kid and the things that you're given, and you're not being grateful for what you have, things of that nature. It's a funny episode because it was like so on the nose, and they gave some nods. Like Punky has her kids in the car, and she's torturing them, making them sleep in the car instead of sleeping in the apartment, and making them listen to 80s music. And of course, she plays "Maniac," which is the song she was singing while she was dancing in the empty apartment when Henry found her. So I thought that was a cool nod. Episode 3, if I can recall, has Seth Green in it. Seth Green is in it, and that's an episode about changing for others. The daughter finds a boyfriend, and the older daughter, Hannah is her name. She finds a boyfriend, and she wants to kind of like impress him, so she's kind of changing who she is, and Punky's telling her about, no, you don't need to do that, and it's a cute little funny way. Episode 4, I believe. Oh, there are some cool things that happen that I did not see coming. I'm not gonna lie. So this is the episode where finally, Punky's mother calls. I have been waiting my entire life for Punky to get the call or a visit from her mother. And then we find out some cool things like Cherry is actually dating a female. She is not bisexual. I think she's just straight up gay in this series. They didn't ever allude to her being bisexual or anything like that, but she definitely is dating a female or woman. And it's kind of funny because I kept thinking about Cherry's only boyfriend that she had. I think his name was Donald, or Donald McDonald, or Ronald, something like that. So I was thinking of that when I saw it. I was like, oh, I was trying to think what in Cherry's life would have happened that she would realize or recognize that she may be gay or not into guys. And I was like, well, the only boyfriend that I remember was that guy, Donald. So I thought that was kind of funny. But back to Punky's mom, that was great. Halfway through too, so it was like episode 4, and then episode 5 comes in, and then Izzy has an attachment to a piece of clothing that her father belonged to her father. She walks around with a beanie, like a winter cap, and it's she always wears it, and they don't ever allude to why she wears it. So we find out in this episode because she loses it. She doesn't know where it is. And this is where we find out that, well, not where we find out, but in the beginning, I also forgot a character that they give a nod to, and that is Brandon the dog. There is a dog by the name of Brandy, who's also a boy. I thought it was going to be a girl version of the dog, but it's a golden retriever, looks just like Brandon. And I thought it was cute that they gave a nod and they named the dog Brandy instead of Brandon. They're in the same apartment building. It looks like the same apartment building, or they want us to believe it's the same apartment building, same apartment, just with a little more pizzazz, a little more style. But anyways, Lizzie has a hat that belongs to her dad. She wears it all the time, and then she ends up losing the hat. So that episode is all about that. Punky gives her a nod about how she had lost the doll Mai. For those of you who don't remember Mai, it was the doll that she had lost that Henry accidentally threw away, and he had to go to the garbage dump to go get it because he tried to replace it. I remember way too much about this show. Trust me. Like I said, it was one of my favorites. So, number 6 is pretty cool. It's a really cool nod to the WWE. So it appears that Lizzie, the Punky-esque character, is a huge WWE fan, which I'm not mad at. I love WWE. Used to watch it all the time when I was a kid. Great nod to the 80s, by the way. I don't know, no wrestlers were ever in the original series, but it was kind of cool to see that they were showing love to the WWE, to just another outside entity to kind of make this world feel bigger than what it was. So I like that. Margot, spoiler, makes an appearance. And I'm just going to stop right there because there is no Alan appearance. I was really kind of sad about that. But Margot was in this, and she was very, very much unrecognizable. Like, I had to like double take, like, Margot? Like, Margot? Yeah, but she's in it. Which was cool. We all grow up, right? We all get older. But it was cool that they still had it, because I was wondering if Margot was going to show up or any of the other kids other than Cherry were going to come back. But I thought that was cool that they came back, that she came back for the show. Good sport. I love that when they do that. Episode 7, the infamous treehouse is still in play. And you see this throughout a couple of other episodes, but this episode was specifically about the treehouse and it needing some serious renovations because it is deemed no longer safe. And Punky decides to, renovate it for Lizzie because she wants Lizzie to grow up in it. Her kids used it, when they were younger, and they've outgrown it. Now it's just like they're new generation. They don't care about being outside or hanging around and hanging around in a treehouse. So Punky wants to revive it so that Lizzie can enjoy it as she's getting older. In this episode, Punky actually returns the call to her mother, because before her mother just called, but she returns the call. And now there's anticipation because we're like in the 7th episode, but like 2 more episodes left. Like, we gotta meet Punky's mother. And episode 8 takes us further in. It's 80s theme. Of course, we couldn't do a Punky Brewster show without having like an 80s theme episode, right? So this episode is like, there's like a block party, an annual block party, and Punky's in charge of it. And this is the 80s block party now. And I thought it was cool. There were a lot of nods to a lot of 80s iconic figures, like Prince. People were dressed up. The kids were dressed up like Prince. Desperately Seeking Susan, Madonna, Back to the Future, 80s promise type styles. And at this event, young Lizzie, which I thought was pulled my heartstrings. Lizzie says, she shows up at the block party and Punky like freezes. She's like, I didn't know what to wear, so I found some of your old clothes and I put them on, and oh my god, this little girl is dressed exactly like Punky when she was 8 years old, in this empty apartment. It was like she literally looked just like her. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, this girl's walking around the streets dressed up like Punky. $100, she's gonna run into Punky's mother. Sure enough, she did. She ran into Punky's mother. Punky's mother gets all teary-eyed, and we finally meet her. We finally see who Punky's mom is, and I gotta tell you, it was a little bit underwhelming. I don't know this lady. I don't ever recall seeing her. She kind of looked familiar, but I couldn't really pull. Let me see if I can find out who this lady is. Wow, she's not even in the credits, which is kind of strange. Anyways, anyone that knows who she is, her name is Susan Brewster, and she's not in the credits whatsoever. I don't know if they're trying to hold on to that until people get a gist of the show, but she's not even in the credits right now. And like I said, I've never seen her before. She looked a little familiar, but like I said, I couldn't grasp it, and it was a little underwhelming. Like, I was expecting it to be someone, even in the TV realm, no one expensive. You could have saved your money and not had Seth Green in this, and paid a little bit of bread to get somebody to play her mom. But she does okay. It wasn't a bad episode. So that brings us to the finale, which 8 was very emotional. I'm not gonna lie, but 9 was really emotional because you finally get the meaning of Punky. It could have been a little better. It was a little weak. It wasn't that great of a meaning, because they like to drop comedy in it, and it takes you out of it sometimes. And I feel like this has been like a 30-40 year build-up. Like, we want to know what Punky is feeling. This is when it gets real. You made a light joke about adoption and kids being left. Like, the little girl that's just like Punky, pretty much going through the same storyline as her, and it's like no one ever like really alludes to it. It's kind of really lighthearted. So like I said, it's a great escape. Like, they keep the darkness to the side. The outcome, though, how I felt overall about this show, it was 1,000 times better than Saved by the Bell to me. I felt like it was true to the essence, very sitcom-y, very 1980s, 90s, even a bit of the 2000s sitcom-y. It matched a couple of generations. It wasn't just, a 1980s nostalgia explosion. It felt fresh. It felt like they really took their time and figured out what they wanted to do with this without trying to overdo it, without trying to impress people. So there are a lot of things in it that feel like this would only happen in the 80s. Like a lot of the, the more serious stuff. But you kind of go with the flow because you enjoy this bunch of people, and these kids are really good at what they do. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Like, I was very, very impressed with the way that these kids handle acting in this I haven't seen acting like that from kids in a very, very, very long time. So you guys make sure you guys look out for like Noah Cottrell, what is his name? Oliver D. Los Santos, who plays Daniel, and the girl who plays Hannah. Lauren Lindsay Donzes. They're great. They make this show. They keep it trucking along, but Punky do not sleep. Soleil Moon Frye is a force to be fucking reckoned with because she jumped back into this character like she never left. And we haven't seen her in like 30 years. We haven't really seen Punky or Soleil Moon Frye on screen. Her and Cherry. Shout out to them both. And they also gave like a quick nod to Cherry's grandma too. Shout out to her. It wasn't long, but it was very, very much worth it. There's a lot of things going on with Cherry that I'm not going to spoil because I think they are worth the surprise, but they are great additions to this new legacy of Punky. And how I felt about it was I really enjoyed it. This is definitely going to get a season 2. I would be very shocked if this doesn't get a season 2 and Saved by the Bell gets a season 2. But I definitely see a season 2 for this Punky Brewster because it's very heartwarming. Family television is good with this song or with this show on Peacock. Pull the family together and watch the show because it has that. It does what Fuller House did. Fuller House got what, 4 seasons after the fact, maybe more. I don't know. I just know it wasn't a one-shot thing and it stuck around for a little longer. This Punky Brewster could do the same exact thing. Like I said, those kids are amazing. They're funny, and I would love to see this show grow and do 4 more seasons like the original Punky Brewster. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say. You guys let me know if you watch any of the episodes or watch all of the episodes like I did. Please, I would love to know what you thought. If I'm overhyping it, I really enjoyed this show. Like it's way better than I thought it was gonna be. I'm glad it met my expectations, and I would go back again and rewatch. And I will be back for season 2 if it ever drops. But guys, like, comment, share, make sure you subscribe. And for more movies, television news, movie, pop culture, and our podcast, Critics Talk, make sure you guys check out wearecritics.com. And I will talk to you all later. Peace.